Hello and welcome to the Daily Brown Bag. Today we're going to be talking about email marketing. I'm Chad Hill and I'm joined by Adam Stetzer.
Yeah, good morning, Chad. Welcome to the Brown Bag. You know, folks in our white label SEO program are primarily interested in selling search engine optimization. That's what the program is focused on. That's what people are buying, their small business customers. But email marketing has a critical role to play here, Chad, and it's kind of subtle and it takes a lot of convincing. But if you really think this through, it starts to become obvious. You know, when we talk to our SEO resellers in our 4 o'clock sessions and in our webinars, you know, they're constantly talking about wanting to not only acquire new customers, but retain the ones they have. And the retention around search engine optimization comes down to return on investment. And this is where email marketing plays a critical role, working in combination with an SEO strategy, because email marketing, when done right, is still extremely effective. We've got some data here to back up that statement. According to the Direct Marketing Association, the return on investment from email marketing is $40 for every dollar spent. That's a very high number. According to HubSpot, you also really have to maintain this activity because your email subscriber list actually degrades by 22% each year. The reason for that is people change jobs and they abandon accounts and they unsubscribe. So nurturing and growing your subscriber list needs to be an ongoing and necessary part of your digital marketing maintenance. And that's where it starts to fit very well with an SEO strategy. Now, some folks we hear, again, we're talking to our white label SEO resellers, well, my clients are small business and they're just starting out and they don't have a list. You know, how can they even get into email marketing? They just want to get their rankings up. Again, we highly advise that you fold that SEO strategy discussion into a broader digital marketing strategy discussion where email marketing is definitely a part of it. So you're relaunching their site or you're tuning their site for SEO, but you're also talking about how to build a great subscriber list. Here we can look to Marketing Sherpa. They've talked about a lot of great techniques that can be quite effective. The 3 most effective ways to collect email subscriber addresses from their research are: 1, registration upon purchasing a product. This works particularly well for e-commerce oriented sites. 2, registration pages just all over your website, particularly with some sort of offer that gets people to want more. 3, online events such as webinars, which can be very effective, particularly in the software space, maybe less so for e-commerce. And I guess, Chad, that leads to the broader question, again, you know, addressing our SEO resellers who are so focused on rankings. But when it comes down to keeping clients, it's return on investment. And this is where email nurture can really help. What are some other things they should be doing?
Great question, Adam. And it is interesting. We've hit this topic so many times, and email continues to be that channel that just people tend to underemphasize because they think it's something that, you know, is sort of old, but yet it is still new. And you know, we hear all these stats about how much time people spend on mobile devices. One of the places they're spending that time is in their email inbox. So they're checking their email more frequently. It's still probably the most surefire way of getting something to somebody, getting a message delivered to your prospects or your current customers. So here are some other ways, and especially given that, you know, the business and the white labeled SEO services we provide are very heavily content oriented, I want to talk a bit about how to use your content to grow your marketing list. So the first one, of course, is to provide good, relevant content. And it is a little bit of chicken the egg here because, you know, the question is, how do you spread that content virally, or how do you get the content you create out to people to actually read if you don't have a list? But if you don't have that content, how are you going to get somebody interested enough in your service to actually subscribe? So you do need to sort of take a leap of faith and start investing in content. I can give you a couple of examples of times where we've created content and then been able to either use paid advertising to drive people to download ebooks and white papers that then allow us to then engage in that discussion. A lot of it is just to nurture and see if we can get more discussions with other people. Sometimes those actually even can become leads down the road, but that's a really strong way to start. I think the other one is to not really dish out the same content and emails to everybody. You want to actually allow people to subscribe or tailor the type of content you're sending them. So if you have different types of services that you offer, so if you have customers who are very interested in websites or customers who are very interested in SEO, you might want to actually record that information in your email contact list so that you know what kind of email to send to each people, because obviously the more relevant the information is you're sending to someone, they might be more likely to forward it on to somebody else who then subscribes. So that's a critical part as well. Another one is that in that content you're creating, you always want to ask for that email address after they read it. Now you can put the gate on the content and say you must enter a form in order to download my content, and you probably want to save that for the bigger hero pieces that you do that really you put a lot of effort into. But on the blog posts, on videos like the one we're doing now, those are the kind of places that you might want to interject at the end to, hey, if you're interested in this service or this content, please subscribe to our email list so you can stay informed. That's a very simple one to do. Another one that, of course, is out there is giving stuff away for free. So any type of contest that you offer, that's a great way to harvest email addresses and ultimately be able to engage in a longer discussion. And then this last one is my favorite one, which is really to think about ways to improve the conversion rate of your website. So there's a ton of technologies out there with these exit intents. So things like PickReal, Balance Exchange, even things like SumoMe. These services are awesome because it can actually improve the conversion rate of your website by 1 or 2 percentage points, which is huge for actually, especially in paid programs, to start to see true ROI on your investment, and of course for SEO as well. So Adam, these are some great examples to get your email marketing going again in 2015.
And fitting into the broader context, Chad, this is why email marketing is so critical to white label SEO resellers. Of course, we know our community is laser focused on rankings. That's what they outsource us to, is try to achieve better rankings. But the bigger resellers, these companies that have grown to over $1 million in annual revenue, understand the name of the game is retention. And as those SEO resellers start to realize retention is really important for further growth, they start to look to integrating their search engine optimization with other digital marketing channels, just as you've laid out, which leads to an extraordinarily positive return on investment for their small business client. And this is where email marketing, as the stats prove out, is still a critical component in being a successful SEO reseller.